From CBS 47 and Fox 30, it's time for This Week in the 904.
Hello and welcome to This Week in the 904. I'm your host, Emily Turner. This is a community affairs show, and it will focus on politics, public policy, and the issues that affect our local communities. Joining us today is Michael Corrigan, president of Visit Jacksonville. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what Visit Jacksonville is?
Sure, Emily. Well, first, thank you for allowing us to come talk tourism. We always love to talk tourism here at Visit Jacksonville. I am the president and CEO of Visit Jacksonville. Visit Jacksonville is the community's tourism authority. We're responsible for everything tourism. When I say everything, I'm talking about attracting people to come visit Jacksonville. I'm talking about attracting groups to come to Jacksonville. I'm talking about making sure that people that come to Jacksonville and even local residents have a lot of options and know about all the different options that you can do here locally in our community. And finally, we make sure that when they come, they have a nice visitor center welcome. We operate a number of visitor centers. Most people have probably come down the escalator at the airport to get their luggage. That visitor center right in front of them is Visit Jacksonville's. We have one downtown at the corner of Forsyth and Laura Street, which is our main visitor center. We have a non-staff visitor center at the Beaches Museum. And then we have a mobile visitor center we call Seymour Jacks, which goes all over Jacksonville and around the Southeast, welcoming people to Jacksonville.
And is Visit Jacksonville like an arm of local government? Is it privately funded? How does that work?
Great question. Visit Jacksonville is an independent 501c6 organization. We are under contract by the Tourist Development Council. And the Tourist Development Council is 9 individuals appointed by the City Council that oversee the work that we do. So on that particular board, there's 3 City Council members and 6 industry people that oversee the work that Visit Jacksonville does. We have a 10-year contract with the TDC to be the official tourism authority for Jacksonville. And each year we submit a plan and a budget to them, and they tell us, yes, we want you to go that direction, or they change the direction we're going in. The great thing for the viewers is that everything that we do is 100% paid by the bed tax that out-of-towners pay when they stay at hotels. It's kind of an interesting story that the tourism tax, or bed tax as it's known to most people, in Jacksonville raises approximately $30 million. Well, 20 of that $30 million goes towards paying for the Stadium of the Future. It's that last 1/3 that's available to do tourism promotion. So when out-of-towners come in town and stay, they're making up a major part of how we're funding the new stadium that's going to be under construction the next several years.
Oh, interesting. So what did the first 2/3 go towards before the Stadium of the Future deal was brokered?
Right. No, it actually was kind of split up between the sports complex and the stadium back before the new deal was brokered. But now the new deal's finished and approved by the NFL. 2/3 of that money will go directly towards paying for the $1.2 billion stadium that we're going to be building. In our contract, not to get too far in the weeds with it, but we get 70% of what's left of that 1/3. So in simple math, last year, bed tax generated $30 million. $20 million will go towards the stadium, and the last $10 million, 7 of that will go to Visit Jacksonville to do all the marketing and stuff that we do, and the last 30% will be within the TDC to help attract with grants and other things that they do when they make those decisions on an annual basis.
Oh, that's interesting. And you don't shy away from getting in the weeds, because the folks who join us on this show are the people who really like getting in the weeds. So that's why we're all here together on a Sunday morning.
Sure.
So when it comes to the TDC, are they like a steering committee? You guys have a master plan and then you get feedback from them and then it goes from there? Or it's kind of like, who's the boss?
Well, I think that the TDC is the boss. I mean, we obviously work for several months, work with the staff of the Tourist Development Council to develop a plan, and then we build a budget based on that plan. Well, during that period, we're talking individually to TDC members, we're talking to the TDC staff, and we even have a meeting where we get input from the entire TDC. I mean, the TDC is a sunshine body, so when they want to meet, they're all meeting as a body, and so we'll have that conversation at one of the TDC meetings leading up to releasing our plan to them, and we get input. And obviously we do things that work very well, and then we do some things sometimes that don't work as well, and we'll add and subtract. And I guess the easiest way to look at it is social media. How much money would be invested in social media 10 years ago versus what's invested in social media now? Changed drastically. I've got a long history with the TDC. I used to be on the City Council from 2003 to 2011. I chaired the Tourist Development Council in 2005 and then served on it for 4 years after that. So I know a lot of knowledge there, and that's part of the reason that the board of directors at Visit Jacksonville asked me to come on board. They said, we want that historical knowledge, what we used to do and what we could do in the future, combine that with looking forward thinking and try to do something from there. So we're very nimble. We have 263 deliverables this year that goes to the TDC. So we're judged and graded on how we do on those deliverables. So the Tourist Development Council passes this 263 item plan, and then we have to make sure, not that we just complete those, but we also look at what's innovative, what's different, how's the industry changing. I mean, we're making a plan in March, April, and May that's going to be enacted starting October 1st. So sometimes we're talking, 16 months in advance, we're guessing of what the best thing to do. And we have a great relationship with the TDC, and they'll make some changes when we go to them and talk to them about it.
263 items is a tall order. What these are the high points for folks who would be wondering, like, oh, okay, priorities 1, 2, and 3?
I don't think there's really a priority 1, 2, 3, but I'll give you a couple examples of things.
Yeah.
For instance, on the group lodging, when we track conferences and conventions in Jacksonville, we have a goal of attracting 110,000 room nights based on that group type thing. We have an average daily rate that we're trying to maintain in the community. And then we'll have extremely specific deliverables like, did you print a visitor magazine that could be distributed throughout the community? I mean, something as simple as that has to be accomplished during that particular year that we're doing it. But there's 263 of them, so each one is equally important to us, and some are easier to reach, and some of them we work extremely hard to the very last minute to be able to accomplish.
Is that pretty standard, 263 to-do items?
No, I mean, it used to be more than that, and we had one that, and this is an example where you talk to your oversight and they understand it. We had one when I first arrived at Visit Jacksonville back in 2018 that said the sales team will purchase a vehicle to move potential meeting planners around in the community. But they never budgeted the money to buy the vehicle, and we didn't really need a vehicle. I mean, the organization our size and style really didn't need it, but yet each year we were dinged because we did not accomplish the task that wasn't budgeted anyway. So over the last 3 or 4 years, we've really improved that relationship between and had some real honest, candid conversations about, okay, is this reasonable or not reasonable? So most of everything when we start in a year, we're pretty confident we're going to be able to accomplish it. And it involves being interactive. It involves working with everyone. Not we mentioned the stadium a few minutes ago. We work with the stadium, the arena, the baseball grounds, the convention center, the Rich Theater, all the other theaters, all the other museums. I mean, there's a lot of deliverables in there that are touching on those types of things.
Well, and we're going to get to all that because I know there's plenty to do around Jax. We are going to head to break right now, but when we come back, we'll be talking about all of the sites, all the things you can see, some of the challenges with marketing our city. We'll be right back just after this.
From CBS 47 and Fox 30, you're watching This Week in the 904.
Welcome back to This Week in the 904. Our guest today is the president and CEO of Visit Jacksonville, Michael Corrigan. Thanks again for having us. We were talking about the attractions in Jacksonville. How do these rank? Like, what's the most popular spot in town?
Yeah, it's interesting. For a long time, we all thought we knew, and citizens of Jacksonville think, oh, I know for sure it's a Jaguar game, And yeah, a lot of us go to the Jaguar game, but also all of those fans are local. They're not what we call visitors in that particular case. So it doesn't matter which way you count the attractions number. Number one attraction in Jacksonville by far is the town center. Everybody goes to the town center. Nobody wants to go to the town center, they say. Anybody talked to says, I hate the traffic, I hate the crowds, I hate how long it takes and everything else. But part of success is the crowd. I mean, that's what makes success. A Jaguar football game is a lot more fun when it's full than when it's half full. So people are attracted to what's really, really popular. And when the list you go from that point down, it starts getting a little interesting. Mayo Clinic is way up on the list. You wouldn't think of a hospital doing that, but they are both a local attraction that's attracting people to it, and also there's an unbelievable amount of visitors that come in town specifically to receive treatment there. Mm-hmm. And most citizens probably don't understand that hospitals and healthcare is a massive economic engine here locally. I mean, when it comes to tourism, there are thousands of people that are coming into Jacksonville constantly for medical help. We are the best medical facility area in the Southeast, and it's really starting to pay off there. And then you obviously have the universities that UNF, especially with this size it's reached now, it's a major attraction. And one that I haven't mentioned yet that's always an attraction and everybody wants to get there is 22 miles of wide, white, sandy beaches is a heck of an attraction. The warmer the weather, the bigger attraction that particular area is.
And you guys study this. I mean, it's not just like let's throw some paint on a wall or mud on a wall, see what sticks. There's a science behind it that involves research. This most recent survey you guys did, what were the results? What was the premise behind it?
Well, what we wanted to find out, Emily, was who's really coming, why are they coming, and where are they coming from? And we contracted with a firm, the TDC specifically set money aside and said, we want you to tell us what's really happening. Just like you said, don't guess, tell us what's really happening. So we hired the company called Downs and St. Germain. It's well known in the destination marketing organizations around the country. And we did a survey, and they surveyed over almost 3,000 people, 2,794 people. And they found out that over 8 million visitors came to Jacksonville last year, and they spent over $7.4 billion. An incredible economic impact that we Visit Jacksonville didn't even know that happened. And then when you talk about where they came from, probably the biggest surprise there was a lot of them are coming from within the state of Florida. They're coming from Orlando, Daytona area. They're coming from the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. They're even coming from Tampa, St. Pete up to Jacksonville. And in addition to that, they're coming from New York City and from Atlanta. I mean, when you look at visitors, overwhelming number of visitors drive to Jacksonville to visit instead of fly to Jacksonville. But when they fly here, not surprisingly, they're flying from direct flight markets. Where can I get on a plane and go directly to Jacksonville? We market to those markets is where we market to, because we know that's the most effective use of those marketing dollars is places you directly fly to. New York and Atlanta are the top two from out of the state of Florida that fly to Jacksonville.
So what does marketing to those demographics, those people look like? I mean, I imagine you're probably not pitching Jacksonville and Atlanta the same way you are to a New Yorker.
Right. Each town is tailor-made for that particular area. I mean, even closer to that is on the how are you marketing them? We're not marketing Orlando to fly to Jacksonville. We're marketing drive to Jacksonville, and we're doing that 100% target marketed with it, and then we're doing all types of different marketing. Everything from traditional marketing in a magazine or a periodical. We're advertising on social media. Obviously, a ton of that is done now. That continues to grow more than any other segment of what we're doing. Even more fun and interesting is we're bringing in influencers from different destinations that we know people have come from, and we bring them in town and we show them the best of Jacksonville. We show them what you would show if you had a friend that came to Jacksonville, and we highlight those, and they go back and they either write stories or do blogs or whatever the particular industry might be.
It's you don't think about it, but I have a whole on Instagram, like a whole folder saved of travel stuff, but that makes a lot of sense that you would say, oh, okay, Charlotte, you pick some foodie, come down, take them to all the good restaurants, they pitch it, and then all of their audience sees it. I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but that's why I'm not in marketing.
Well, if you look at Porch Fest here, which is super successful in Springfield, well, this year we went to Charlotte and Atlanta and we recreated Porch Fest at a wine and food festival in both cities and showed them what you could come to Jacksonville and see in Springfield. So we're giving them a taste of Springfield at a wine and food show in cities outside of Jacksonville, and the response was incredible. Well, we got to come down and check this out. If it's this cool here, how cool would it be in multiple houses in the historic neighborhood? Is
there a way to track the return on investment for how much you spend in marketing to how many people come, or is that too disconnected?
Well, you're in the news media, so you can track everything, and 100%. It's sometimes Big Brother starts making you a little worried that we track everything. Our media company is giving us reports every single week of what's effective, what's not. Probably one I would love to tell you about is we activated more in London this past year. The Jaguars play a game there every year. Visit Jacksonville's had a presence, but this year we actually did activation. We brought over influencers 6 weeks before the Jaguar game in London, and then we went over and we're in a train station in London at the time. We've been blown away at how many Londoners are continuing to go to our website and research coming to Jacksonville over that one activation. I mean, 185% increase that continues. It hasn't waned off since we did that last October. So it's been a huge. I mean, that was something new and different that we partnered with the TDC to do and look beyond the normal media methods that we would typically use to bring visitors to Jacksonville.
Interesting. Well, and I know there are challenges that you face with marketing Jacksonville. We'll get to those in just a second when we come back from this break. We'll talk about challenges, what happens when the stadium is out of the mix. We'll have all that coming up.
From CBS 47 and Fox 30, you're watching This Week in the 904.
Welcome back to This Week in the 904. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday morning. Our guest today is President and CEO of Visit Jacksonville, Michael Corrigan. We talked a little bit about some of the successes you guys have had, but Jacksonville is such a unique city that you might not think as a tourist destination. So what are the challenges you guys face when trying to convince somebody to come here?
Well, you're kind of timed directly into our marketing campaign, so I really appreciate that. Jacksonville is the coolest thing about Jacksonville when you try to market it. It is located in a state that happens to have FL after it. It's in Florida, and everybody wants to come to Florida. Whether you're a domestic traveler or international traveler, you want to come to Florida. But a lot of people have already come to Florida and they've gone to another destination in Florida. So what we're constantly doing is trying to sell Jacksonville as a different Florida. As a matter of fact, our current ad campaign is "We are the flip side of Florida." We talk about that we have more oak trees than palm trees. We talk about that we have flip-flops and cowboy boots. We talk about we have the largest natural park system in the country. We have 22 miles of sandy beaches. All the things that we think are uniquely different about Jacksonville, we try to do that. But the challenge is we don't have a Disney World. We don't have a South Beach. Sometimes when you talk about a Taylor Swift going to Tampa, I mean, we don't have those ... yet. And that's what we continue to market uniquely different than other destinations while we wait for those opportunities to come to Jacksonville.
Is that part of your job description, is trying to lobby for big concerts or big names or shows or whatever to come to town?
Emily, I would put it part of my passion for Jacksonville.
Okay.
I 100%. I'm a lifer in Jacksonville. I've been here, and I was here when everything ever happened. I mean, whatever bridge you drive over, I walked over the day they allowed you to walk over before it opened. The stadium, you were there before. I mean, every new thing that opened over my lifetime, I've had an opportunity to go and see. So that's part of the reason that I'm both honored and thrilled to have the responsibility of leading the team at Visit Jacksonville, because I love Jacksonville. I mean, I never would live anywhere else, and it's unique. And as you talk about challenges to get people to come visit here, our survey found out that people are coming here 10, 12, 14 times to visit Jacksonville, because once you get a little taste of Jacksonville, you want to get more. Think how many people that you and I both know that have come to Jacksonville for something. They were going to move here for a job for a couple of years and never left, because Jacksonville's got that secret sauce that we really can't explain. Try to market that. That's extremely difficult to market the people and the love and the weather and everything else. Trying to market that in a 30-second spot is really difficult to do.
It's so funny you say that, because the joke amongst my friends, because I'm born and raised here too, left for the job, but I'm now back, is that there's just like this sucking noise that Jacksonville pulls people back. So many people have gone to bigger cities, but they end up back here, and it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, what's the one-line pitch for that other than it just is?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and you can't, that's not a good ad campaign.
I know, it just is. This is, again, why I'm not in marketing and I'm in news.
But, I mean, and we have challenges. I mean, not having that single attraction is a challenge, and as you look at challenge, I think the Stadium of the Future is going to give us an opportunity to bring a lot more unique things to our community, but there's a challenge associated with that.
Well, first, one challenge I was curious about. We have a downtown, but it's not a downtown as one would know it. Is that an issue that we face, that when it comes to marketing, or no, because we have all these other things that can kind of buoy that? It's
somewhat of an issue, and it's getting better every day. Our largest hotels, our full-service convention-style hotels, are primarily located downtown. They're building a new Hilton at the Mayo, so that's going to be a big exception there. One Ocean at the beach is getting a total renovation, so that's another great asset. But if you visualize not having your downtown fully ready for visitors makes it a little bit tougher. But wow, the things that are happening down there now, the construction that's taking place, our group tourism, our group markets, our group salespeople are talking to people that are coming here in 2 or 3 or 4 years for conferences and conventions, and we can say with great confidence, you're going to be so lucky, because it's all going to be brand new and it's going to be amazing. It's basically from the Marriott downtown down to the stadium is going to be a phenomenal stretch of land that everybody's going to be part of.
We had the Gateway Jacks folks on, which if anyone hasn't seen that episode, I would recommend them to go back and watch, because what they're doing down there is really interesting. But you talk about the stadium, there's going to be a period of time where that's out of the mix. That's got to provide some kind of a concern.
Yeah, Emily, it really is. I mean, in 26, the stadium will be at half capacity, and 27 will be closed completely. Well, when the stadium goes to half capacity, they're just going to have Jaguar games and potentially the Gator Bowl played there. But they're not going to have the Florida-Georgia game. They're not going to have concerts. They're not going to have the monster truck show. Visit Jacksonville estimates 125,000 room nights will be lost each one of those 2 years from visitors not coming here to go to those amazing events. So we're reaching out to the community. We're saying we need your help. We've launched a Bring It Home campaign, which says, all of us, or most of us, leave the city to go to some conference or convention somewhere else. When have you ever invited that particular group to come to your hometown? To bring it home, Jacks, and bring them home and let us do something here. The TDC is partnered with Visit Jacksonville. We have additional incentives. We have additional marketing that we're doing, and we're asking the people of Jacksonville, we need your help. In 26 and 27, and those plans are being made now. So it's like this year, we want you to go to your organization, whether it's a fraternity, a family, or a business association, or whatever it is. Go to them and say, hey, come to Jacksonville. Let me help you come to Jacksonville. And as the listeners hear this, we're not talking about a 10,000 person conference. We're talking about 25 people, 100 people, 300 people.
And there's economic incentives in place even for that?
For that, which it never has been before, but the industry knows that we're going to be suffering. And the reason it's important to Joe, listener who doesn't really think that they're part of it, is your favorite restaurant or your favorite store, they don't make it without visitors coming in. What makes these stores, especially the restaurants, what makes them successful is on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night when nobody's going out, they're staying home, visitors are coming in town. These conferences and conventions they're putting people in restaurants, not just at the town center, but in every restaurant throughout the town. And Visit Jacksonville is promoting every restaurant in town. So it's super important that we bond together as a community to be able to bridge that gap. And think about this, when we're successful, and we will be, when we're successful, we've kept the line of business stable, and also we're gonna have this amazing asset of the stadium in the future, and it's just gonna rocket up to even higher. So when you sit around and say, I really wish we had, that's the secret of getting it, is increase the amount of business they can get. So
final parting thought, if anybody wants to learn more about you, your organization, or what they can do to be a part of this, where do they go? What do they do?
Great question. Go to visitjacksonville.com on the website, or you can download the Visit Jacks app from either one of your app stores and learn a lot about it, especially the app. If you're wondering, I want to do something different in Jacksonville this weekend, download the Visit Jacksonville app, and then it's a location-based app, so wherever you are, it's going to tell you things you can do in the near area around you.
Well, I'll be downloading that as soon as the show is over.
Well, perfect,
Michael, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Thank you guys at home for joining us again this Sunday morning. We'll have another episode of This Week in the 904 next week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thanks for watching This Week in the 904.